So for step 26, the front arms, well, this is a relatively simple step. We just need to grab the C8 and C3 and the C4 pieces, which I've got right there. And then we've got 2 screws. So the only thing to be careful of is the direction in terms of which piece goes where. But that's fairly straightforward. So we'll just set this up and I'll put them together. So you can see with C8, C8 on both sides are the same. You just have to make sure that the notch is on the right-hand side. And then with this, you can see that in terms of positioning, there's a piece here that is facing up. You can see that there is a notch there that has to match, and that is up. So it has to go that way. So we're just going to screw this in from this side and make sure that they're attached. Now, again, this is soft plastic to soft plastic, so do not over tighten. When you get to the end, stop. Yeah, that's as far as I want to go. So that's ultimately what it should look like. So again, if we do this on the other side, you can see that the notch now needs to be facing or on the left side. And then with this, you can see the way that's going, that we need to turn this around so that it's facing this way. The notch is there. So let's make sure that is correct. The notch is there. That's got to fit and attach that way. And again, I'm going to grab our screw. And screw this in. And as soon as you feel resistance, don't tighten it anymore. There we go. So ultimately, that is how these both should look. So step 26 is complete. Again, very, very simple. So now we're going to move on to step 27, and we're going to attach the front arms. So for step 27, attaching the front arms, well, you can see that we're going to grab the 2 pieces that we built in the previous step, and they're going to be attached to the chassis. And then there's the C18 piece. I've got the 2 pieces there. So we're going to need to do what we did with the rear, where we're going to put in the O-ring and get the O-ring into the joint. And then we'll grease it up and put them into the gearbox. That'll be the first thing we do. Then it'll be a matter of putting these front lower arms in and attaching everything. So there's our screw pins, step screws, the O-rings, and of course our joints. So I'll set this up and let's put this together. So again, let's get these O-rings in place. So I'm going to put that down in there. Grab one of the dog bones, use that to push that down and into place. Needs to be pushed just a bit more. There we go. So there's our O-ring down at the bottom, nicely in position. And same thing with the other one. We're going to put that in there. Use our dog bone, because it's the perfect shape for this, to push it down to the bottom. Just like that. So there's our other one ready to go. And let's grab our chassis here. And you can see they want you to grease that up. We'll do a little bit of that. Sure. Let's grease this up here. I'm not going to put too much on because, again, we are using ball bearings, but I feel like these ones should have a little bit of grease here. And turn that around and we'll pop that in place. There we go. And same thing with the other side. Let's grease this up a bit. There we go. And grab the chassis, stick that in there. There we go. So there are our joints in place on both sides. Put that aside. So now what we're going to do is I think we'll get the lower arms attached first. So based on what they're showing here, they've got the screw pin, and if I grab the right one here, and you can see in terms of the positioning, you've got the little notch has to be there. The notches are matching up, so we know we've got the right one. We've got the screw pin going into the bottom here. Now, again, I've not known them not have you grease the whole pin. In almost every other kit they do. I'm going to do that because you want these arms to be nicely lubed. Because even though it's showing you into the center, what about here? You still want some lubrication between the two pieces, so I'm not really sure why they're having you not do that. So I'm going to stick that one into there. Make sure that goes through to the other end. It has. So let's screw that into place. In fact, I'll turn it up on its side here. When you get to the end, you'll know it's just going to stop. And so there we go. It's nice and free moving. So we'll do the same thing with the other side. So I'm going to take the screw pin, grease it up. There we go. And we'll take the other piece, stick that in there, and just turn this around here. And we'll push that through. There we go. There we go. Now it's through. So we're going to screw this one in now. There we are, we're at the end. So again, that's nice and free flowing as well. And you can tell that once you start moving it around and getting the grease kind of moving, it loosens it up a bit too. So there we go with our front arms. So now, last thing to do here are these two pieces here, the C18 piece. Now, if you look at it, there's no difference whether you put them on one way or the other. So you can see that the screw pin needs to go into this hole right here. And it's not showing that you need to grease anything. So we're just going to take that and put it into that hole. And we'll screw it on. Now this is going to be screwed into the hard plastic. So you'll know when you're at the end, but you can also make a note of it too, like just in terms of the end of where that screw pin is actually going to fit. But you'll just know it's going to screw in nice, and as soon as it gets to the end, it'll stop. There we go. And this is also free motion. So last one, grab our other screw pin, pop that through, and it's going into that top one. So we can screw this in place and just go all the way. Hard plastic, so you'll know you're at the end when you get there. There we go. So there are those arm pieces in place as well. So that means that we have just attached the front arm, so step 27 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 28 and work on the front axles.